Hi guys, my name is Pastor Doug Widger. I tend to find myself at the fellowship service downtown, and I'm going to share with you a little bit about commandments 6 through 10. But in order to get to that, I want to kind of go back to the first commandment. Martin Luther in the Large Catechism says that a God is that which we expect all good from, and we take refuge in all of our times of distress. It's where our confidence and faith of the heart are, and that's what makes both a God and an idol. And the reason I share that is because I think he also goes on to say that we can't break any of the other commandments without breaking the first commandment, which is, you shall have no other gods before me. We're constantly replacing the real God with little mini gods, and that's kind of where the sixth commandment picks up. A lot of times when we break the sixth commandment, which says thou shalt not commit adultery, it is about sexual relations outside of marriage. That's what adultery is. But there are so many other ways that this commandment gets broken. And I think in our culture today, this is probably one of the more challenging commandments to deal with. Our culture really has glorified sensuality. With the advent of the internet and pornography, we just get sucked in, and advertisers know this. They know that sex sells, and so what they do is they promote these images that says, if you use Axe shampoo, you will be a babe magnet and your life will be great. It's not true. That's turning something that God created, which is good, sensuality, into something that's an ultimate thing, and that's an idol. And so when we think that sexuality is going to make our life all good, we've turned sexuality into an idol, and it's very common in our society. And so it's also highly addictive, and so I want to really stress to you guys how important this particular commandment is in the big picture. God really calls us to treasure and respect and hold gently a person that we're in relationship, especially a spouse. And when we abuse that relationship in any way, we're really sinning against the first commandment, which is, you shall have no other gods before me. We're placing ourselves in the position of God, which kind of leads into the seventh commandment, thou shalt not steal. There was a church father, guy by the name of Augustine, and he tells a story when he was a teenage boy. He and three buddies were walking along, and they saw a pear orchard that said, keep out, do not trespass. And so what did they do? They jumped into the pear orchard and stole a bunch of pears. He said, we weren't even hungry. We only did it because we were told not to. And then he goes on to explain that he says, we want to do that which is forbidden to us. And we are strongly self-willed people. I don't know about you, but that's been the case in my life, that I don't always want God in charge of my life. I want what I want when I want, and that's the way it is. And so therefore I kind of have broken that commandment. I remember when I was 5 years old, I was in a drugstore with my parents, and they told me no to the bubble gum. Well, they went down the aisle to go get something, and I wisely took the piece of bubble gum from the little end cap where I was and shoved it in my mouth and started chewing it. And my dad said, where'd you get that gum? And I said, bah! And I just started crying. I knew I was busted. They made me go to apologize to the store manager, and I had to go home and do some chores to work off that bubble gum. I wanted what I want when I wanted it, and that's being strongly self-willed. Sometimes stealing, when you're thinking about teenagers, the most common way that I see this is people stealing answers on tests, cheating. That's a form of stealing. And so that commandment, what we do is we replace what we want with God's order, and so we have placed ourselves in the position of God, and we again have broken the first commandment. The eighth commandment is, you shall not bear false witness. That means you shouldn't lie. And again, the reason that people lie is because, one, they want to make themselves better, or two, they want to put somebody else down, or they're jealous of them, or something like that. Again, it's saying that our self-importance is more than God has placed on us, that we think we have to build ourselves up. When God calls us his child, that's enough. But no, we have to make ourselves more, and so we exaggerate, and we become liar, liar, pants on fire guys. And so that's the eighth commandment. The ninth and 10th commandment have to do with coveting. And coveting is when you want something that's not yours. And again, it has this idea that my life will be better and I'll be happy when I get that thing, especially that thing that somebody else has. In my life, I have this tendency to kind of think, oh, if I had that vacation like that person over there, or if I had that nicer car or that bigger house, guess what? That's not what makes us happy. What makes us happy is this relationship that's rooted in Christ. And so what I want to encourage you, in times of need, don't look to sexuality or stuff or your own self-will, but look to the cross and look to King Jesus. And that's indeed where you will find ultimate satisfaction. You will not be having another God. You will be worshiping the one true God.